and try to move forward.
Sure. Speak to, maybe someone hasn't dealt with loss, but there's just kind of a general, like struggling with depression or anxiety, just that general struggle this time of the year, the pressure of trying to create a great Christmas for your family, the pressure of meeting the demands of your family elsewhere, maybe not your immediate household, but you've got sisters, brothers, parents who put high expectations on Christmas and that perfect Christmas as we like to achieve. How about just the person struggling through with maybe some of those things, that expectation of a big Christmas, a great Christmas, a perfect Christmas?
Yeah, I don't know if a perfect Christmas exists.
Spoken
But
like
I
a man
think,
with kids.
yeah, that's right. That's right. I would think that, one would be don't set expectations on yourself that no one else is.
Uh-huh.
You don't have to have the five-piece, meal of the Cornish game hen and the Chilean sea bass and the baked Alaska that comes out. Um, that's not what people remember. People remember presents, and I'm not talking like the ones you open, like your physical presence. And so, set boundaries. That probably could be said for anything, because I don't know if you guys like. I have fun family members, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go and see Cousin Bill, and Cousin Bill's very political, and we're going to have a conversation about the presidency, and or Uncle John's going to come drunk again, or like, and I guess for me, it's setting your own boundaries so that you know what they are ahead of time, because you can't set your boundaries in the moment because you're not regulated enough to. And just also, I would say, give yourself a couple pivot words, like, pivot to the weather, pivot to the Bears. Give yourself some rest. Oh, I need to go check on whether or not, mom needs some help in the kitchen, or like try to think of some of those things where you can kind of release the pressure cooker a little bit.
Yeah, the get up and walk away always works for me. That's my go-to. It's like, man, this conversation is not fun, or this isn't something I'm interested in. I'll go check and see what's going on in the kitchen, type of a thing, or whatever. So play cards with the kids or the cousins or something like that. So yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think setting those boundaries, setting some quiet time for you to recharge. Like, I guess for me is like, if you can help it, I wouldn't go into some of those high stressful situations tired. So take a nap. That would really, really help. Yeah. So, and then also ask for help. And again, as a therapist, I have to say, use those I statements and over communicate your feelings. It's okay to say, I'm feeling a little stressed out. I'm going to go on a walk, or, I'm not really good at talking about politics without getting flustered. So I'd rather not, or, I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, and I'm still trying to figure out how to root for the right team. Whatever.
It's kind of knowing your limitations, right? Like knowing what triggers you, or what gets you, fired up, and, just trying to avoid that high stress, and, running yourself into a situation, you say or do something you're going to regret,
Absolutely. And people won't respect your boundaries if they, some people won't hold your boundaries unless you enforce them and you make them publicly known.
Right. Yeah, good.
Just like for me, like I have a I call it my hula hoop space. Like I have a physical proximity where I feel comfortable in, and I don't like people that aren't married to me to be inside that, or that are not from my my immediate kids. But there are some people that are like, oh, I'm just a hugger, and they just go right in, and and I'm like, oh, that makes me very uncomfortable. So,
all right, note for next time, don't hug Tony.
Yeah. Those 20-minute embraces, Seth, we're gonna have to limit.
Oh, bummer, darn it. All right. Well, on that note, Tony, for the person, and this joke always comes up, right? I'm gonna need a a fifth of vodka to get through the holiday, or I'm going to need to hit the THC store on the way through town, that sort of thing. The person that has the mentality of using those, mind altering substances to make it through the holidays. How about that? And your thoughts on that type of mindset?
Just because they're legal doesn't mean that they're helpful. And I would say probably dialing down more to figure out why you're self-medicating for that.
Mm-hmm.
I struggle with, if you're battling depression and you take a depressant, how does it make it better?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this is the year that you give yourself a really good gift, and it's the gift of self-awareness. And I would just tell your listeners, they are worth the hard work. So put it in, figure out what we're trying to cope with.
Mm-hmm.
And, I used to have this really horrible thing I would say in individual therapy was, we would try to go through a few recommendations in counseling, and I would say, well, you tried absolutely nothing and that's not working. So why not do something different for yourself this year?
Mm-hmm.
Quit doing the same thing. You're worth it. You are totally worth it, and you're worth the effort.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. A lot to think about, Tony. And I'll tell you what, we'll talk when we come back from the break. We'll talk about, managing through, kind of the winter doldrums and of course, we're right in the middle of it now with just these cold days. The nights are early. Those sorts of things. We'll hit on all that next. Where do folks, Tony, go for all things Piatt County Mental Health Center? To talk to somebody in a time of need. How do they do that?
Yeah, give us a call, 217-762-5371. Check us out online, piattmhc.org, or visit us on Facebook. We are here, and we are happy to help.
Tony Kirkman, Executive Director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center, my guest on the Zoom. More to come with Tony on the morning show.
WHOW 30. There's Mark 15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Monday. Jim Taylor, RFD, Radio Network, corn, beans, and Chicago wheat all starting the day lower. March corn opening 438 3/4 down 2. May corn down 447, and new crop December 460 3/4 down 1 1/4.
Jim Taylor on
January
the RFD.
Beans opening 1073 3/4 down 3. March beans down 3 3/4, 1083, and new crop November 1086.
Extra model year savings are available. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. Yes, we have 2025 Silverados with extra savings as well as a few other models now. See our 2026 Silverados in regular cabs, double cabs, and crew cabs in gas or diesel. We also have a good selection of the all-new redesigned Chevrolet Traverse. Chevrolet, together, let's drive. See all our inventory at BaumChevyBuick.com. Right from the start.
Are you looking for a new doctor? Someone who makes you feel heard? At Memorial Care, our primary care physicians and advanced practice providers do more than checkups. They also check in, listening to your needs, discussing your health trends, and advocating for you, especially when you notice a change. They're people you can trust from a trusted healthcare leader. Memorial Care. Real care. Real connections. Learn more at memorial.health/primary care.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. Tony Kirkman, Executive Director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center, my guest on the Zoom today. And, Tony, let's talk briefly here just for a minute about obviously, once we get past the holiday season, then we really get into the grind of the winter. Days are shorter. colder. We're inside. All the, we don't get as much exposure to sunlight. Probably not as much movement as we should get. Let's dive into just managing, the things through the course of the winter that can lead us to anxiety, depression, all the things. What do you have for us?
Yeah, so I would say, Seth, as the holiday cheer starts to diminish a little bit and we start rolling into 2026, everything that you started talking about, a lot of people, this is a difficult time, and there's some tragic things that you see on the news, all different types of horrible stuff, but they look forward to the holidays because it's a chance to escape temporarily. The problem is that
it's temporary.
It's temporary. And the old saying says, no matter where you go, there you are. So you can't just run from your problems. You have to address them. So we do know that seasonal affective disorder, although not recognized as an official mental health issue, does hold some weight with behaviorism of, all of the fun holiday stuff is done. A lot of the social interactions go away, loss of sunlight, loss of physical activity. And those are all horrible, horrible things for positive mental health, because we want you outside. We want you with sunlight. We want you active. We want you to positively be reframing things. So I would say this is a perfect opportunity. I want to do a big plug for wonderful organizations like the Clinton YMCA. This would be a good time to start looking into programs. One, not only will they keep you physically active, they will have you socially engaged. All wonderful things for your behavioral health. Mm-hmm. I would also be trying to find things that give yourself purpose and value. So it is scientifically proven that those that practice selfless acts and being more socially conscious and gracious, they practice gratefulness, have more positive mental health. So find a good charity. There's always somebody in need that you can make their day a little bit better, and you can make that choice. Mm-hmm. I have a good friend here in town that has told me repeatedly, and it's probably the most one of the most pivotal things that I've ever heard in my entire life. And he said, every morning we wake up and we have the choice to shine light or darkness into this world. It's our choice. Mm-hmm. So make wise choices.
Tony, can we address something, and this may transition us to our next topic? You talked about, you see all the things on the news, and you can't escape it, right? I think, and I don't know what I just kind of had this thought, I'll let you respond to it, but I feel like one of the things that is leading to our anxiety in a lot of places is, you talk about the social media piece where we're constantly comparing ourselves to other people, and and even this, in the Christmas season, right? Like, oh gosh, the neighbor's trees just look beautiful, and the decorations, and they just do it so well, and all we've got is just this little blow up and a couple of lights strung together on the porch, and so that jealousy factor, that comparing factor comes into play. But I also wonder, and I'll let you respond to this, what do you think about the idea of constantly being exposed to the bad things happening in the world, the news of devastating weather events in other parts of the country or other parts of the world, and just like wearing that burden, taking that burden on, what that leading to anxiety and depression, and like just seeing constant bad things going on all over the place. What do you think about that?
I believe that, and I could be wrong, your historical scholars that listen to this might fillet me for saying this, but I think it was President Theodore Roosevelt that said comparison is the thief of joy. And so, if we're constantly looking at somebody's highlight reel and then comparing it against our blooper reel, we're always going to be inadequate. I'm a man of faith, and, scripture talks about that we should run the race that's set out for us. I think, that's the original stay in your own lane type of conversation. So whatever you're looking for, you're going to find it. And so if you look for inadequacy, you're going to find it. if you look at it through a lens of, wow, I can't believe I have this much to be thankful for, you'll find it. You know, relatively, I have great health. I have an amazing wife. I have wonderful kids. I have a house that keeps me warm in 3-degree temperature. I have a job. I have a personal mission. I've got a good social group. Like all of those things, I look towards. Now, I don't have a $500,000 Lamborghini Murcielago. I don't have a guest house in Italy. I don't have a private jet. So where do I want my focus to be? And then to your point on social media or the news, what the journalism thing don't they say if it bleeds, it reads?
It bleeds, it leads.
Leads, that's right. Media is, and I know I'm talking to an expert in this, but
that's quite a stretch, Tony. I'll be honest. That's a stretch.
It might not all be helpful for you because, it's about clicks. It's about engagement. It's about viewership. And well, I'll tell you this. I'm driving down the road and I see somebody fixing a flat tire. I don't slow down. I drive by and I see a car crash. I slow down. Why is that? Neither one of them engage me, but it seems like our brains are sadly geared for looking or being intrigued by tragedy and less, I guess, less engaged when we see positivity. And I don't know why that is. Fred Rogers once said when he watched some horrible stuff on TV that his mom gave him the best advice and said, whenever you see tragedy, look for the helpers.
Yep.
And I think that's where we need to go.
Yep. On that note, Tony, I wish I could talk further on this with you. Maybe we'll save it for our January visit. How do folks learn about all things Piatt County Mental Health Center, sir?
Yeah, check us out online, piattmhc.org. Give me a call, 217-762-5371. Visit us on Facebook or come on down to Monticello. Come in, say hi. I'd love to meet you.
Tony, Merry Christmas, man, to you and yours. Best of with it all, and we'll see you in January.
Merry Christmas, my friend. God bless. We'll see you later.
Tony Kirkman, Executive Director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center, our guest. Network News on the way.